Hey all, and welcome back to the finale of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle HD. It's time to take on the last story, and I have to say, for all my bitching about SA2, I think it did the finale a little bit more involved, shall we say, than the first game, because in the first game you just basically, it's a series of cutscenes after walking around on the overworld, and then you fight Perfect Chaos, but here, you've still got a bunch of cutscenes, obviously, where Eggman has all the 7 Chaos Emeralds. He's about ready to fire the Eclipse Cannon and destroy the Earth, which strikes me as a bit short-sighted, because where's he going to live there? I guess he has a holiday home on the Ark and whatnot. But then you actually have to play as all the playable characters, and then you get, like, a boss, and then a supersonic boss fight, so it's great.
Yeah, there's definitely more, like, interaction here, because, like you say, SA1 was very much a case of walk to this place on the hub world, walk to that place on the hub world, and kind of tie the knot on why I don't particularly care for the hub worlds in that game. But here, like, we do still get a lot of plot dump, and like, bearing in mind that we're gonna be told that the Ark is throttling towards the Earth when it looks perfectly still. But
close up!
Oh god.
Oh, Jesus Christ, how will we ever stop it? Wait a minute, would this be the same kind of cataclysm as what destroyed the dinosaurs? How much of Earth will be destroyed here?
Probably quite a lot, I would have thought, because it's been a very long time since that occurred.
Oh my god, who is that on the screens right now?
It's just, you know, one of them broadcast-friendly, broadcast-safe execution films. Nothing to be alerted about.
Oh, how nice of him to broadcast in every conceivable language known to mankind. I guess he had the foresight to put subtitles and whatnot on it.
Well, you would have hoped so, wouldn't you? Because otherwise it would have been completely inaccessible to so many different people.
Okay, at the rate that thing was going, the velocity, it should have already impacted Earth, I think. I may have got a double F in science, but I know thing goes fast and then goes boom.
Yeah, you are indeed pretty correct on that point. If it was going that fast, then yeah, we'd all be dead at this point. So clearly, it's not moving that quickly. I mean, for starters, if it was already flaming, you'd be able to see the flames outside of the windows here, so clearly the CGI cutscene is lying to us.
Never noticed that, never noticed that. By the way, a few things to note here. Yes, that is Gerald Robotnik, that is Eggman's grandfather. Number 2, he was shot up by a firing squad. Didn't explicitly show it, but that's what happened. And number 3, the cage he was being kept in was the same one Sonic was stuck in on Prison Island.
Yeah, so it all kind of ties together in an incredibly morbid way.
A little bit, because then they go ahead and retcon Gerald Robotnik in Shadow the Hedgehog, so he was just doing it for the good of mankind. He wasn't working with the Black Arms or anything. No, he just wanted to save his granddaughter from space AIDS.
Yeah, totally. Woo. To be honest, I think the whole Shadow retcon is a little bit ridiculous because there's actually a sort of an interesting wrinkle with Gerald Robotnik in SA2 as it is initially.
Yeah.
Because you have the sort of complex, maybe slightly ludicrous, but still relatively complex motivation behind why he chooses to do what he does. And so you can sort of, well, particularly with the creation of the ultimate life form, you can neither totally condemn or totally absolve Gerald for his actions. But obviously, the whole "I'm going to destroy the planet" thing, yeah, that bit's kind of a little bit, oh, yeah, you might not want to do that one.
I seem to recall in the standard def versions, this text on screen was almost readable, whereas here you don't stand a fucking chance.
Which is odd. You'd think the HD version would make things stand out more, not less.
Well, it's because it's just a bitmap overlaid and they've just stretched it rather than remade the text.
Yeah, that's like rendering a 4x3 image in 16:9. Oh, past Tom, what are you doing? Stop, no!
Or, it's like doing that and putting 2 black bars either side of your screen, but not actually making sure that the black bars cover the entire length of the video, because then you end up with like a small pixel line at the top where you can see everything.
Okay, which of us is that referring to? Because I think we're all guilty of that.
Well, no, it's referring to the game itself, because that's what they did, the lazy bastards.
SA2 is the one to blame, yes! Yes, I'm victorious!
And some of your 3DS live streams back in the day.
Damn!
Just saying.
Damped it all to heck! So yeah, we gotta take control of all of these characters, one after the other, in a sequence that I actually really enjoy. I love, like, when you have to use everything you've learned throughout the game, and granted, all these characters are fairly similar. Obviously, there's only 3 gameplay styles here, but in a way it kind of helps, because you know how each one controls, and all the sequences kind of gel together that much better.
But how?
I personally have a few issues with the level designs themselves, but as a concept, this is amazing and really hype, and really sort of, I'd say, the perfect end to SA2, because obviously
God.
I've never... Where the hell were you keeping that, Knuckles?
No, it's not where was he keeping it, it's what the hell happened to the size of it.
Oh, this is its arse-size form. It transforms, you know.
It's his Switch variant, so he's got the portable version, and then, you know, when it's just standing out, that's its docked version, so it's bigger and much higher quality, clearly.
Docked is not the right word given the motion we just saw.
Oh, look at that, they've already colour-coded it and everything. It seems to me like Sonic, he takes the most direct route there, but maybe I'm just remembering horrible flashbacks of falling down a water slide to my doom.
It might be that, yes.
Yeah, maybe you should look where you're going.
Let's get to work! Cannon's core, get to the core of the colony. This is the Hyperchip Flame. Regale me with tales of young Flaming Claw. How did you feel when you initially got to this back in the day?
My opinions on it back in the day were pretty much what they are now, in the fact that I really like the concept of having, like, you know, all the characters are coming together, like, both Hero and Dark, to kind of face off against the greater threat at this given moment. But I also think this level is a bit meh in terms of execution.
Okay, right.
Like, the mech sections are basically like a slightly less interesting Eternal Engine. It's not really bringing much to the table here outside of this time stop gimmick. The other sections up until we get to Sonic's, which is admittedly really cool, kind of but maybe that's me, I don't know.
No, I can definitely see where you're coming from. I think Richie said it best. It's like, maybe the level design isn't stellar. I think I enjoyed the concept more than the execution, but it's still at least kind of fun to play through, especially now as, like, what passes for an adult, I suppose. Like, I did find it a bit fiddly back in the day, but that's just SA2 in a nutshell, really. I don't think, even though it's like, it's more platformer friendly, at least in terms of, like, getting optimal scores and times, I feel it's a lot more fiddly overall than SA1, so maybe this is where all the problems of the game come to light, who knows?
Possibly, but it's one of the weird things to me, because, like, I am completely aware of how jank a lot of this game is, but I think because it's like the game that I've been playing since I was like 6 constantly, I just switch off to it. I'm so used to it that I can work around it.
Yeah, there are terms for things like you're suffering from, mate, but none of them polite enough to utter on this, the truly most Christian of commentary channels.
Yeah, let's ignore the fact I made a joke about Knuckles docking a few minutes ago, but yeah! This is the gimmick Fragman section. There's these blocks that move up and down, and basically, if you remember where they're going to come from, then you have a much easier job. If you don't, then you end up having to redo the level a lot.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, like, from what I remember, Tail section's pretty easy. Eggman's is okay apart from that particular section, because obviously you've got to know exactly where everything's gonna move. And then I think his end section is also notably more infuriating than Tails is.
Yeah, a little bit.
As I've said, sort of, my history with SA2 is chaotic to say the least, because of the amount of times I put it down, came back to it, put it down, came back to it. Cannon's Core was another instance of that, because I just kept getting stuck at various points. If I recall correctly, Eggman was probably one of them, because, I mean, this room in particular is just a bit of a nightmare. Distinctly remember struggling with both Knuckles and Rouge, because both of theirs has a lot of swimming and time stuff, and it's
very much so.
easily sort of the worst bit of the level, and it's a bit that I've always struggled with. And then I'm pretty sure when I played it, like, Sonic's bit, it's easy in comparison and quite cool, but it's Rouge's and Knuckles' and the sort of few bits of Eggman's just caused me to put this down so many times.
I would say Knuckles section is by far the hardest, but there is a little item you can pick up in Aquatic Mine which might make it one of the easiest, actually.
Oh no, even when you pick it up, it doesn't necessarily help.
It does, because it takes away the biggest threat, which is drowning. It's that section in particular, it's kind of like irritating more than actively bad, at least in my opinion. Like, there's some of these sections where you swim down and dodging the lasers, which we'll see in a couple of minutes. It's like, yeah, that's more nuisance.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is the artificial chaoses.
Oh yeah,
that are just an absolute ball ache to deal with. Because, and also that, which just ends up being just hugely irritating. Because you're just like, could you just not do that, please? That would make my life so much easier.
You can't surpass water, it is the greatest element in the universe.
the reason why I was being overly careful there is one thing that has fucked me over before is if you hit the time stop switch when there's a box above the string, then you've just got to wait for the time to run out and try again, and that is so irritating to me.
Yeah, I can see why it would be, yeah.
But yes, now we're on to the Knuckles section, the infamous Knuckles section.
Yep, this gave me plenty of game overs as a child, let me tell you.
Like, there is an interesting, like, collision issue in this section, which is if you glide into the side of that little ring around the water section, then you can kind of clip out of bounds and then fly your way to the end part.
Huh.
But, you know, I think there are some kill planes around still, so you have still got to be careful and sort of know what you're doing.
God, is there a more nefarious term in video games than kill plane? Don't enter the kill plane, you'll fucking die.
Yeah. It's just when you spend so much time looking into the out of bounds stuff for games like this, you eventually just take, like, such threatening phrases as, like, second nature. But yeah, here's our buddies, the Artificial Chaos, which, you know, they're much easier to take down in Shadow, not gonna lie.
Well, I think the reason that they end up being so painful here is because you can't actually attack them when the water's there. So you just end up having to try and dodge them, but they're a bit of a nightmare to dodge, and also Knuckles doesn't swim bloody fast enough. Move!
There you go. I'm surprised they didn't give you like a doggy paddle button, honestly.
That'd probably have a really goofy animation actually, so yeah, I wish that happened.
Well, I can think of a goofy animation coming up later in this video frame.
I'm trying to think of which one you mean.
I think Richie knows.
Oh, we'll see.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Tom, because it's arguably one of the more iconic moments of the original SA2 playthrough, from what I recall.
I think it might be the only iconic moment from that playthrough, and that's not even trying to, like, put down the old playthrough to, like, buff up the new one. I literally can't remember anything else in that playthrough.
I mean, to be fair, that is true, but I think it's a trend with the original Sonic playthroughs is that obviously SA1, the one thing that I think pretty much all of us remember is the city's been fucking destroyed. And yeah, I would say SA2 it probably is that particular scene.
Because HFC is not a comedy channel. I've never envisioned it to be like, oh, you're going to get laughs when you come to watch one of our playthroughs. Maybe you'll enjoy it. But it's
maybe.
Not maybe a heavy asterisk next to the maybe. But you know, I just hope like the banter and the information and the jokes we like crack to make each other laugh more than the viewers mostly. I find that's the best way to do it if you're like trying to be funny in a let's play. Make your friends laugh, and then hopefully the audience will laugh along with you. Where the fuck was I going with this tangent? Oh yeah, if you got the wrong way down here, you will fucking die. But yeah. Me liking playthrough.
I think where you were going was trying to dance around the fact that your unfunny masturbation joke that everyone else has made ever is the only memorable part?
Yeah, basically. Nice run, them.
Well, I got a shit rank here.
Wow, how many times did you die?
Just the once, actually. Just like I cut out a death, like with Knuckles thing, which that wasn't a natural death. That was just I've been here a while, but I don't want to redo the whole thing. Let's make myself die and start again, sort of deal.
Fair enough.
And here's Amy's involvement in the story, because obviously she could be playable in SA2. They've already allocated all the playable character slots.
Well, she's playable, but in the multiplayer as a clone of Sonic. Because that's exactly how you associate her gameplay.
Oh no, you said clone! And Shadow's disappeared from Smash Bros. Ultimate. Is Amy gonna be Sonic's Echo Fighter?
For fuck's sake!
Because I mean, they gave Ganondorf his sword as a smash attack. Who's to say they can't give Amy her Pico Pico hammer as a smash attack?
I mean, to be fair, that wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, if only because technically, Smash Bros. Could do with a little few more female characters in its roster. I mean, it's doing a lot better than it ever used to, but throw in a few more and make it kind of truly equal. But yeah, Amy's basically useless in this.
Let's have some great representation with characters like Girl Sonic.
Thank you, Flame. Point taken. But Girl Sonic here is helping Shadow remember his vow to Maria. You must give them a chance to be happy. Don't let SA2 be launched. Don't let it go gold.
Too late.
And from that moment on, humankind was damned. They would play mediocre Sonic games year after year, often claiming that some were better than others. But alas, then came 06, then came Rise of Lyric, then came Sonic Forces? Question mark?
Forces ain't on 06 or Rise of Lyric, that was.
No, it's not. Forces is mediocre at worst.
And I think that's arguably its most damning thing, is that it needed to be good and it was merely okay. And that was following, the whole Rise of Lyric situation. It's just like, that's not good enough.
Nope.
Yeah, but to give Forces credit, at least I could be my first Sona in it.
Yeah.
Shadow.
Good old retake of the Rooster. Anyway, what the hell is going on in this room? It's vaguely Freudian.
Well, clearly Gerald had quite a number of issues.
Yes, he did.
Really? You don't say.
I think we can probably just leave it at that and just go, we're about to go into a rather, interesting, i.e. stupidly buggy boss fight.
Yeah, I wondered whether you were going to get to the point or not. The Bio Lizard. I fucking hate this boss fight. Unless we're talking about Generation 3DS, where it's a bit more user-friendly.
Yeah, I can't stand this thing.
As someone who's gone out of my way to perfect both, I find them both about as difficult as each other, although I seem to recall in 3DS one it's more fair than this, where you think you're doing it right and then you're twatted by something from off screen.
Yep.
I'll take care of this while you run to get the Chaos Emerald.
After all the other characters played their part in Canon's core, now it's Shadow's turn to step up to the game, and he gets the boss. Which, is kind of a way of balancing it out of the OG version versus the revision.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Look, the obvious joke is, how the hell do you go from a gigantic salamander to a 3-foot hedgehog? But there must have been Ohana cousins in between Biohazard and fucking Shadow the Hedgehog. Come on.
I want to see the evolution chart. You see them scientific pictures of the ape slowly standing more and more upright and then becoming a human. There's got to be a morph form version of this.
Yeah. Although to be fair, I mean, if you take the retcon from Shadow, this thing kind of does look Dark Arms-esque or Black Arms-esque. Sorry, got to be correct with my terms there.
Yes, you do.
I think you're giving them way too much credit. They just wanted to put in a giant lizard monster.
Oh my god, the ending lag on the somersault has dicked me over so many times there.
Oh, definitely. I mean, basically just the entire fight is just ridiculous because if you fail at any point, then you have to kind of start beginning the cycle again, and you're just like, for the love of God! Because you've got the issue of running away, because you can't go too quickly, otherwise you end up having to deal with his tail, but you've got to have his face on screen, because otherwise you can't really progress. You've got the gaps in the arena, which you can fall down and just end up dying. You've got these bits where you've got to jump and somersault and roll and stuff, but it's not always, like, there's bits of lag on it when you're trying to move, which can be ridiculous. And then there's a bit where you've got to grind up his railing, which is physically impossible. And sometimes you don't get enough speed. There's a whole sort of thing. I think you've got to jump off at the top to be able to then homing attack, but it doesn't always work, and you're just like, ba-da-ba-da.
It's worse in the next phase when the bubbles come. What I feel would have helped this boss fight a lot is just zoom the camera out a bit more. Like, let us see the holes in the platform.
Yes, that would have helped.
If we could get more like perspective on where his tail is at any given point, then it wouldn't be such a juggle of being close enough but not too far away or any of that awkward sort of spot. But yeah, these things are really annoying because as well as being the things that you meant to home attack, they also randomly fire at you.
Yes.
And it shouldn't take too much consideration to realise why that could be a problem.
Yeah.
And also the bit that makes it even worse is that sometimes you're pointing yourself towards the core of the Bio-Lizard, and sometimes Shadow just doesn't want to homing attack the bloody thing.
And sometimes you're just in that, like, vulnerable state as you're getting ready to homing attack, like as you're lining yourself up, and that's when one decides to twat you from behind or something, and that gets really fucking irritating. And also, like, I didn't have as much trouble with this as I imagined I would. Like, I think I got this down like maybe the 15th attempt or so, but like it kind of, yeah, I got into the groove of it, and it would nearly always be the last phase that fucked me up.
Yeah, I mean, this bit's awful.
No homing attack here, you just have to make your way through, and you better be quick about it.
They look like they're following a pattern there, but I swear sometimes they break it randomly.
Let's hear what Shadow has to say about this abomination.
Get out, you ugly prototype.
Fucking owned, mate. Blown the fuck out.
Yeah, and he's the coolest and everything. That means something.
Jesus. So they made an emerald altar. What was the scientific purpose behind this exactly?
I can only imagine it might have had something to do with trying to harness the power of chaos. Especially given that, like, we have the artificial chaos around the Ark and that, maybe it's something to do with it.
Like, I'm not saying this to be funny or anything. Like, I generally can't remember what was the physical point of it.
Stop the Chaos Emerald.
Probably for throwbacks.
I mean, it's cool. I love the emerald altar from SA1.
Doesn't necessarily have the same effect, I don't think, in the middle of a space station, but hey.
I'm going to be our final boss by Chaos Control!
See you outside, bitch.
Is it gone? Is that what Chaos Control is?
That's a well-translated line.
Yeah, nicely translated, guys.
Since we've stopped the Chaos Emeralds, why is the space...
And we're finally getting to a point where they're actually showing physical representation of the fact that we're ploughing towards the Earth at breakneck speed.
God, maybe it's best they left it for the cutscenes. Can you imagine with SA2's physics trying to make it through levels that also shake?
Could you, like, that emergency safety physics that it puts on the internal engine, imagine if the whole of Cannon's core was played under that.
Oh, no, don't even joke about that thing. Like, I had enough trouble. I had enough trouble with the game as it is. I don't need to be dealing with that as well. And here's the scene.
Yes, here we go. I see the implications as an adult. As a child, I saw naught but hype.
Yes, I agree, but yeah, guys, just this should never have happened.
I'm imagining you, and you are imagining me. Together, we are imagining each other. Mega sploosh!
Yeah. I don't even know what to say, Jesus. Like, you could probably... at this point, you've probably put together like a montage of all the different Let's Players who've made the same fucking joke at that point.
Well, just keeping
so
it consistent.
Obvious.
Okay, alright. Or the Finalhazard prototype of the Ultimate Live with the Eclipse cannon up his arse. Whatever, I'll ignore that aesthetic. This is one of my favourite Sonic final bosses, hands down.
Yep.
The music, the gameplay, just the scope of it, the fact you have 2 playable characters here. I love Shadow's like coloration here in his super form, but I think that got retconned later on to just make him look a bit more like Sonic. Also, I remember publications referring to Shadow as Hyper Shadow.
Yeah, that was kind of either a mistranslation or some like interpretation that got taken on as official when it's not. He is just Super Shadow. But I agree, this is probably the best Supersonic final boss in my opinion. I think a close second for me is probably Solaris, but like this is like the shit to me, you know.
I will politely disagree on the basis of I feel that this boss fight is equally as buggy and not as well put together as BioLizard. It's definitely better, but like the main saving grace is the fact that Live and Learn is like a godly song, and just makes it is such a hype moment. I love the idea of this fight. It's just once again, it's the execution. Like I would much rather play Perfect Dark Gaia in Sonic Unleashed than I would play this, because that one I feel there is a bit more control in.
But Perfect Dark Gaia is terrible.
I still prefer it, but that's sort of another thing. Yes.
Yeah, opinions, mine are right.
Yeah, okay, Flame, there we go. We saved him! Oh, God! This is gonna feel really bad on the way out!
Oh, God, yeah.
So, are we to assume he just slides off and, like, enters Earth's atmosphere? Because there's gonna be an event in a second where the Ark gets transported, so is he just stuck there forever?
No, like, I know this is spoilers a little bit, but there's got to be a way for Shadow to have a soft landing.
Jesus. Yeah. Alright, 2 things. One, you can actually run out of time in that fight, which is great. It's a fight with actual, like, tension, you know? Like, the screen gets steadily more and more red as you approach Earth, and people on the intercom get more panicked and whatnot. And I think I read on Twitter recently that Johnny Gioli was not sure Sega would like Live and Learn. Like, I think he was constantly asking Jun Senoi, like, whether it was good or not, and hey, it's the most overplayed Sonic final boss theme to date, and rightfully so, it's great. Can't look at this scene without thinking of the fucking Obama meme. Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, Jesus.
What a great end to a game. Like, I may dislike the whole government conspiracy shit, but I would be lying to you if I said I didn't enjoy my time with SA2. I still think the first game is better overall, it's handled better, it controls better, and blah 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 blah. But this ending is one of the best in like 3D Sonic history. Whether or not you agree a Sonic game should be like this in the first place, I feel it's exciting and it's handled well.
I definitely agree on that fact, and I would say that this kind of whole last scene is really cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the music during this cutscene is actually called The Last Scene or something to that effect, and it is just it's a really good ending, and yeah.
When did Sonic get that ring off Shadow exactly?
Well, it's the last thing before Shadow got catapulted down to Earth, like he just got mugged by Sonic.
I see. Maybe that's the reason Shadow fell to Earth, because Sonic mugged him, shivved him, and just let him fall to Earth.
Yeah, like, at least take the fucking rocket boots or something, they're cool.
I mean, really, you feel that Sonic should have just said, "Take that, you faker!" Just as he pushed him to Earth, but still.
Stick to your fanfiction, Richie, stick to your fanfics. Alright, Flame, this is your game, so what do you think of SA2 as a whole?
I know it's jank, I know it's a bit silly in parts, but for fuck's sake, it's my favourite fucking game, I don't care.
And we all did it together!
Yep. Yeah, I love SA2 so much.
What about you, Rich?
I certainly don't have the same emotional attachment to it as a lot of other people. I think because I ended up finishing it so late down the line. I mean, it's a fun game, don't get me wrong, and I can certainly see why so many people do love it. I do just think that it is perhaps a little bit too jank, and it hasn't aged phenomenally well. I'd much rather play some of the later Sonic games, but that's just me.
I'm kind of like half Flame's opinion, half Richie's here, because while I've said over and over to beat a dead horse into the ground, Dead Horse the Hedgehog, if you will, that's my second OC, I still think SA2 is, if not a good game, at least a very enjoyable one. I feel like SA1 has like better gameplay as a whole. Yes, even Biggs. I don't think the Walker stuff was necessary here, and I feel like the Emerald stuff's way inferior to the first game, but shit damn if Shadow wasn't fucking cool in this game. And it's got like a great soundtrack, and I just love this ending, what can I say. So yeah, that'll do it for our redo of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Join us later in the year when we return to Sonic with Sonic Chronicles. See you then. Damn, not here.